guys, I woke up this morning, it's my birthday, so I decided I'd have a few friends over and make lasagna for this evening. And what I want to show you real quick is all that's involved. We have sweet Italian sausage, we have ground beef, we have onions, parsley, pepper, sugar, salt, oregano, basil, garlic, crushed tomatoes, tomato sauce, and tomato paste. It's absolutely fantastic spaghetti sauce that we'll start out with, and we'll make it into the lasagna here in just a little bit, so stick around.
Any old thing to get to you, any old thing will do. Any old thing will do.
Alright, so you can see what I'm doing right now is I have put the sweet Italian sausage and the ground beef into this large pot with the onions. And I'm just cooking it until all the meat is brown. And then we're going to add the garlic. I made this lasagna for Rusty's mom when she came to visit recently. It was the first time I had made it in a long time, and as soon as we had it, I thought, you know what, we need to share this with our Any Old Thing friends. So I'm pretty excited about having it today as well. Okay, so I have the meat to where just a little bit, there's just a little bit of pink left. So I'm going to take the garlic at this point and go ahead and put it in there so that it can start getting the flavors of that garlic into the meat along with those onions. It's going to give it a fantastic taste, and it's going to make my kitchen smell fantastic. Now that I've added the garlic, I've kept it turning so that garlic doesn't sit anywhere on the bottom of the pan and burn. Everything now is brown. There's no pink meat left. So what I'm going to do at this point is go ahead and start adding the tomatoes. Just going to dump them right in there. I'm using lean ground beef and sausage, so there isn't anything to drain. If you use something that is not as lean, you will need to drain that meat so you don't have a lot of fat in your sauce. Now my recipe calls for 1 can of crushed tomatoes, but I actually put 2 in because I like to have a little extra sauce. But that's entirely up to you how you like your sauce to be. I'm also going to add a little bit of water just to give it enough moisture. This is going to sit and cook for a long time, so you want to make sure that it doesn't dry out. Now I have all of the sauce, the tomatoes are in there, we have garlic, onions, it's smelling so fantastic. What I want to do now is go ahead and start adding the spices that will give it that wonderful flavor. So I'm going to do basil, oregano, some sugar, some salt, pepper, and this time I'm using fresh parsley, but I've done it with dried parsley and it works just fine. So at this point, all we're going to do is turn it down. Everything's cooked pretty much. We're just letting the flavors mingle a little bit. So I'm going to turn it down and we're going to let that simmer for about an hour to an hour and a half, sometimes longer if you want. It's totally up to you. Okay, so now we're ready to mix up the cheese mixture that goes in between the noodles. We'll layer the noodles with the meat and the cheese. And to begin with, I have 1 egg that I've mixed up a little bit in this small bowl. Then I'm just going to take the ricotta cheese, dump that in there, super easy. Dump in the parsley. Once again, that's fresh parsley, and then salt. That's all. We'll just mix this up, get it real smooth, get it all combined in together, and then we'll use use this in between those noodles. Okay, now we are to the fun part. What I've done while we were gone, I boiled some lasagna noodles, just according to the package instructions, and I put some cold water on them after they came out just to cool them down so I can actually work with them with my hands. So now we're going to start layering the lasagna. And the layering process I'd like to use is do 1.5 cups of meat first. So I just get a cup, got a 1/2 cup here. Alright, I'm going to smooth that out in the bottom of the pan. Get it all around the edges. Alright, and then the next step is to put some noodles down to cover that meat. Luckily I bought a pan at the store because lasagna pans are terrible to clean up, and I just didn't want to deal with it. So I got one, and it fits the noodles perfectly. I don't have to worry about it, any overlapping or anything. It just fits in there beautifully. Alright, so once I put the noodles in, I'm going to take half of this cheese mixture that we put together, that ricotta cheese mixture. I'm going to do 1/2 of it. Just smooth it out as best you can. It's alright if you get messy. You want that cheese to be all mixed in there so you can taste it later when you take your bite. We're then going to go in with our mozzarella cheese and use 1/3 of it, because we're going to use it 3 times. But I actually get a little bit more than what the recipe calls for because I like mine cheesy, so I'm just going to estimate. Just cover that real nicely. Alright, and then after we do the mozzarella cheese, we're going back in with another 1.5 cups of meat. You've got to be a little more gentle with it this time because you've got some cheese in there. You can also use mozzarella slices. I just like how the shredded cheese melts in there a little bit better, so that's just a matter of preference. And then after we do that, we do 1/4 cup of Parmesan cheese. So I'm just going to put some in there so I know how much. Sprinkle that all over that meat sauce. Okay, that warm meat is making all the cheese melt into it nicely. And then we're going to do another layer. We're going to make sure that we top it with the cheeses at the end. And then the last thing that you want to do is go ahead and cover this with some foil. Now, I would normally suggest that you put some kitchen spray on it, some cooking spray on it. However, I just realized I'm out, so I'm just going to improvise and deal with it. Now my pan is kind of deep, so I probably won't have a problem with it. But if your cheese is right at the top of your pan, it may stick to that foil. So what we want to do is cover this. We're going to cook this in the oven for 25 minutes. We're going to take the foil off at that point and then cook it for an additional 25. Okay, so stick around. We'll be right back in about an hour and we'll taste the lasagna. See you soon.
All right. To Jules' famous lasagna. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.